Okay, so I selected the key, and over here on the list side of the panel, it shows me that that key belongs to the translate Z attribute. Okay, now I can adjust my keyed information inside this graph. But before I do that, let's try to realize what's going on here. This is the translate Z, and it exists at 2.982. Okay? Now that seems kind of scary, and the stat says it's at 0 and 2.982. So that the 0 is the frame. So at frame 0, it's at 2.982. And that 2.982 is the value at frame 0. So let's change it at frame 16, which is the other key. So I can middle mouse click on that key after I've got it selected, and I can drag it to change my animation. And I can see that at frame 16, it says that this attribute, this particular key, is set to 4.79, and I can verify in the channel box that that is true. Okay, I can grab these other ones also. And I drag selected, the line was only green, but it turns out that I got the translate X and Y. Now if I just click instead of drag select, let's see if it'll let me. Yeah, my timeline was in the way. So if I click and the middle mouse drag, then now I have 3 different lines that represent my animation. Now these are colored attributes. The translate X is always, anything that's on the X-axis is always going to be represented by a red line. Anything on the Y-axis will always be a green line, and anything on the Z-axis will always be a blue line. Now, that's most of what the graph editor does. It allows you to tweak your animation and see what's going on, because Maya's going to be making decisions for you. It's nice if you can control Maya's decisions, and this is how you do it in here. Now, if I click both of these keys, the last thing we really need to cover in this beginner tutorial is the tweens. We can change the shape of this line. And I'm not going to show you every one of those options, but basically, you have these different icons up here. And you can play with these to get different types of animation out of it. You can also drag, select, or click one of these handles for a key. So first you have to select a key, then you can select the handle, and then you can middle mouse click and drag on those. Those of you familiar with Illustrator or vector graphics may recognize this. So you're manipulating time. Okay. So now I've got kind of an S-curve, so it's going to move. Let's predict the movement. It's the Z-axis that I have selected. Let me go back to these two first. So I'm going to hit F to frame them, and I'm going to delete these keys. While I'm in the graph editor, I can just press delete. And it'll delete those keys. Now I'm going to frame this, and to predict the movement, it's going to move in the Z-axis. It's going to get further away from the origin on the Z-axis, and then it's going to get closer back to the origin, and then it's going to move further away. Okay, so I'm only covering this in detail because it can be kind of confusing, but it's very useful if you can get past that. Okay, so let's see what happens. On frame 0, and it's going to be moving on this Z-axis. It moves away, then it starts to move back, Then it moves away again. Okay. So I'm sorry that was kind of a boring tutorial, or series of tutorials, but it's very important to understand those basics.